right, so hello everyone, and welcome to today's session, Connecting Web3 Talent to Work and How to Prepare for your first job in the Web3 space or for your next job in the Web3 space, how to prepare your documents, how to prepare your CV, how to approach applying for a job, and of course, how to do your first interview or first interview rounds. So we are holding this session today because we have noticed through our facilitation between talent and companies that very often professionals are not really prepared for the job market interview, right? So they might have very good technical skills, they might have very good projects that they have built, but the soft skills, let's call it that way, when it comes to applying for a job or doing the job interview are not there or are not sufficient in order to win over the employer. And these skills are very, very important because we're in a market where actually there is a lot of competition. The market is still small. So compared to the overall tech market, there are not so many jobs and there are already a lot of blockchain professionals. So there is big competition and you really have to bring your A game if you want to win the employer and if you want to really get the job. So in today's session, we will speak exactly about that, how to prepare for your interview, for your next interview, how to get the interview even, and then how to do the interview. And after this session, you should be ready for the whole process. So if you have any questions, you can always ask them in the chat, or we will also have a Q&A session after this presentation. But before we start, I wanted to quickly introduce myself, who I am, and why am I speaking about this topic. And right, so who am I? I am the founder and CEO of EkoLance, and EkoLance is a Web3 talent platform where we connect blockchain talent to companies through hackathons, developer challenges, and workshops. We also offer upskilling educational sessions where you can learn new things about new technologies and also new topics in the blockchain space. I am also a financial services professional. So before starting EkoLance, I worked for different financial services institutions and consulted them on technology topics. And this is actually how I found out about blockchain, because in the financial services industry, and you will see that in the presentation, this is one of the strongest industries when it comes to blockchain implementation. I'm also a YouTuber. If you're interested in my YouTube channel, it's called Ledger Nation. I haven't posted for a very long time, but still, if you're interested to check it out, you can do that. And I'm also in the board of directors of the Global Blockchain Women Alliance. So, as I said, I'm the founder and CEO of EkoLance, and what we do at EkoLance is we first upskill. We offer different training programs, which are for technical professionals, for example, Solidity developer training or smart contract audit training. Also for non-technical professionals, we have community manager training, marketing training, and we also offer soft skill training like the one we're doing today. We also organize online hackathons and challenges with different blockchain protocols. You can see a list of some of our clients on the bottom. We have worked with Human Protocol, with Celo, Concordium, with OneStamp, which is one of the largest blockchain security companies, Aleph Zero, and so on and so forth. And through these hackathons and challenges, people can, or the participants can either get jobs or start their own projects and get access to grants and funding to build their projects. And of course, we also facilitate jobs between talent and companies. And as a member in our community, you can always get a notification when there's a job available suitable for your profile. We have also built the first existing or the first and only existing platform where companies can quickly source verified and trained talent with blockchain skills. What does that mean? On our platform, the talents will just launch this feature today, not today, but this week actually. On our platform, talents can identify themselves, so their ID and their and take a picture and identify themselves. And then they receive a special wallet where they always receive a soulbound token for each action they take within our ecosystem. And this way, they are building their on-chain CV. So the way it looks like here on the dashboard, you can see it a little bit. So basically, you have an on-chain CV represented in a digital version that you can also always present to the employers and say, okay, this is proof that I have actually done a project, or I have actually done a hackathon, or I have actually done a training. And this is something that companies are explicitly looking at, that you have actual proof um, of your education and of your experience in the blockchain space. All right. So to quickly walk you through how we do it, as I mentioned, we have a verification process. Then we connect you to employers. They vet you through the blockchain technology that we have implemented. And after you have worked with them, you get your payment on chain as well through our platform. The payments are done in stable coins currently on Ethereum or Polygon, but we're implementing other chains. So, are you ready to get your next job in Web3? I hope you are. If you scan this QR code, you can add yourself to a list to receive a certificate, an on-chain certificate that will start your on-chain CV with us. And you will receive it next week. So yeah, if you want to have a certificate like this, you can scan this QR code and then we'll send you a certificate. All right, so I always like to present some statistics so we can have a picture of the market before we know what we have to deal with, right? So first, let's analyze the market a little bit and see what are we dealing with here actually. So as of end of 2023, there are 190,000 professionals working in the blockchain industry. And you can see here a very good representation of who are the largest employers in the market. These are the exchanges and brokerages. After that, the crypto financial services companies, and after that, the blockchain protocols, mining companies, and so on. So as we can see, the biggest employers, right? So the largest percentage are the exchanges and crypto financial services. So this is where the most jobs are and the largest likelihood probably of getting a job. If you still don't have an exact idea in which sector you should look into, this is where the most jobs are. Who are the traditional sectors that actually implement blockchain technology and where you can also look at? Because on one side, we have the traditional crypto companies, right? This is what I showed here, traditional crypto companies and what operations exactly they do. And this graphic represents the more the traditional, the Web2 world that is implementing blockchain technologies and where the jobs are there. So in the financial services sector, about 50% of the financial services companies, and these are like banks, asset managers, and so on, are already looking into blockchain technology and in some capacity researching how to implement it or already have implemented it. So it was my case, for example. I worked in the financial services technology. This is how I found out about blockchain. And actually, my first job was to consult companies or to consult banks actually about blockchain technology before I started my own company. So where are the most blockchain jobs? They are in the US and in China. These are the countries with the blockchain companies that are hiring most. And this is where the jobs are, right? In these two countries are the most of the jobs, not all the jobs, but most of the jobs. The good thing is that the blockchain industry is super remote. It's remote first. That means that even your employer, let's say, is located in the US or in China, they're still hiring remotely. I don't have a specific research on how much of a percentage the remote jobs are, but by just speaking to our clients and reviewing the market, I believe around 70% of the jobs in the crypto space are remote. So even you're in, I don't know, Nigeria, India, I don't know, somewhere in Eastern Europe, you can always get a job in crypto that is remote with a US company, with a Chinese company, with a company located in UK or Australia. So when looking at the distribution of blockchain developer jobs, I want to show that because I found this very interesting statistics here. You can see the number of job openings and where they exactly are. So you can see also like the bigger hubs here hiring for blockchain developers and what share of the market they have. Now, which type of jobs are the most popular in the blockchain space? We have two different sources here and two different graphs that I want to present. The first one is from an article that was posted on Medium that is showing the blockchain roles breakdown. So you can see that engineering or operations are the largest part, are the most blockchain jobs basically, and followed by design and marketing with each 10%. But then if we look at Glassdoor, I didn't write the source here, but this source is from Glassdoor, we can see another breakdown of the most popular blockchain professions, which is significantly here with 18% a software engineer. So you can compare with the Medium article. It says that engineering is 31%, but software engineer is not the only engineering profession. So in general, engineering is with 31% and a software engineer is 18%. And then we have analyst, relations, product manager, front-end engineer, and so on and so forth. We can see also community managers, marketing managers. These are also very popular jobs. All right. Now, an interesting question. How much can you expect to get paid in the blockchain space? So there are different statistics here. I pulled up a statistic here showing, again, one of the most popular positions in the blockchain industry and how much is the average salary. But the source is from Consensus. But what I want to mention here is that the average salary is very often also for jobs that are not remote, right? So for remote jobs, we sometimes have or see lower average salaries because a lot of companies have the rationale to say, okay, you have the flexibility to live in a cheaper place, so that's why we're paying less. Or because of some tax purposes, we have to pay you less because I don't know of what reason, right? There are different tax reasons. But the average salary usually is just your normal payment. Very often when you work in the blockchain industry, you get additional payment in tokens or equity, depending on what kind of job you have. Now, let's get ready for our first job. I spoke a lot about the statistics, but we're here actually to talk about job readiness, how to get ready for your first job or for your next job in the blockchain industry. So maybe just for my information here, can you please raise your hand if you already have a job in the blockchain space? I don't see any hands. Okay, so no one is working in blockchain currently. Okay, this is super interesting. Very good. So, or if you do have a job in the blockchain space, let me see, I saw something in the chat, negative. Okay. Ismaila is saying the QR code, please. I'm gonna show it in the end again, so don't worry. All right, so still just community work. All right, good. So this is very cool because then I can speak about how to get your first job in the blockchain space, right? All right. Maybe I can share a little bit of stories, right? This is the best thing. So very often when a client approaches us and says, okay, I'm looking for a specific role, right? I'm looking for a specific person for a role that we're hiring. Very often they say, Maria, can you recommend me someone? And I'm like, okay, how can I recommend you someone, right? And it's like, I don't know, because everyone wants me to recommend someone. I don't know 1,500 people to recommend, like personally, that I have worked with, right? So how do I make this? Okay, I'm gonna recommend you someone good. How do we make this scalable, right? And the best way to do that, and we created a system for that, is exactly this certification and proof of work that we want to implement. So super important in the blockchain space is that someone recommends you, that someone knows about you from someone else. This is like an industry, I've never seen this before in the traditional world, an industry based on recommendations, basically. So you have to know someone and have done good job with them or together with them or for them that recommends you for your next role. I think this is the highest chance to get a job in blockchain is like this, if someone recommends you. So this leads us to the necessity of having this on-chain recommendations or on-chain proof for our experience and good work we can show. And also, of course, to have a good network of people that can recommend us, right? So, how to prepare for your first job? The most important thing, do something in the space that gives you a proof that you have done it. And then you can show this proof to an employer and say, hey, I have participated in this community project. I don't know, we launched an NFT project and it sold out. Or I started my own community for blockchain UI UX designers, and we have created this super cool prototype of a blockchain wallet. And this is it, right? Like you show it. Or I have participated in an ETH Global hackathon and I have won a bounty there. And this is the proof, right? So the more things you do in the industry, the higher the chances that first companies will believe that you have the ability to work for them and the experience to work for them, and also the knowledge, of course, to work for them. And second, you'll know a lot of people through these activities that you're doing that can recommend you for your next job. So to go back to my list, first, proof of work, right? So do some work in the space and get proof of it. So like a prototype of something, go to a hackathon and get like a certificate for it, or volunteer somewhere, right? And get a recommendation. And the best thing is to volunteer for a known brand, because let's say if I volunteer for I'm seeing a ventilator here. So for the company called Ventilator, like no one knows that. So if I say, hey, I volunteered as a marketing manager at the company Ventilator, and it's a blockchain company, and everyone's like, which blockchain company? I don't know it. Like, so it will not really matter that you have volunteered there. So try to volunteer at the company that is known in the industry, because immediately you will have a different image, and immediately also you'll have a different network, right? So sometimes I get this requests on LinkedIn from people asking me to volunteer at EkoLance, and very often they're like, I want to give you an advice here, right? So if you want to volunteer, sometimes people write to me and say, hey, I would like to get an internship at EkoLance. Do you have an open position? And I'm like, who are you? Right? Like, why are you asking me this? I don't know who you are. Like this message. And I'm like, if you want an internship, you or to volunteer somewhere, first of all, tell me who you are. Why should I hire you? What do you bring to the table? Sometimes, and then I answer, well, no, right? And then they say, I will work for free. And they still haven't told me who they are and what they can do and why should I hire them, right? So I want to give you this advice. When you want your first job, um, say the employer, even if it's not a volunteer job, even if it's a very normal job, right? Write to the employer who you are and why do you want this job? What do you bring to the table for this job and why do you want it? So the person that is reading your message really understands what is going on here and why should they hire you. Something, of course, I want to continue with the job readiness here, and talk about the perfect CV, because Sometimes, companies don't even ask for a CV. They look at your on-chain credentials. They look at what certificates you had on-chain, what projects you have built on-chain. If you're a developer, they look at your GitHub. And sometimes you don't even need a CV. But in case you need, I want to tell you guys how it should look like, so it's professional. The perfect CV, as I said, is ideally on-chain. So ideally, you have some on-chain proof of your activities in the blockchain space, that you can prove that you know what you're talking about and that you're not a complete newbie. It should be 1 to 2 pages maximum. I have seen CVs that are like 3, 4, 5 pages long. This is not a CV, this is like a book about your life, and no one has time to read it. When I receive applications, I just scroll super quickly. Maybe it takes me 10 seconds to scroll through the CV. And what I mostly look at are the companies you have worked for. The companies you have worked for, and what did you do for them? This is what I look at. I don't really look at education, but this may be me, depending on what company you're applying for. Some companies, I worked for companies that even have a list of universities that they require people from, right? So if you're from a different university, they're not going to even interview you. But in the blockchain space, I think it's a bit more flexible, where uh, people are mostly interested in your work, right? What have you done in the past? And that's why I say, if you don't have a job in blockchain now, try to volunteer someone with a known brand, so you present as if you already had a job in blockchain, and now you're applying for your second one, let's say. Professional layout. This is also very important. Sometimes I receive CVs that are very, like the format is very poor. They have, like, I don't know, bullet points that are starting in different places of the page. So it's super hard to read it. They're very, there are free resources there for professional layout of CVs. For example, Enhanced CV. I left the website here that you can use. It's free, and you can create a very nice looking CV and also get some feedback about your CV there. Also, professional picture. Sometimes I get CVs, either they don't have a picture, or they have a picture, someone took a picture, I don't know, at a party or in some garden, or wearing like a sports t-shirt or something. I understand the blockchain space is very flexible and very casual, but again, we're applying for a job. And at the job, people expect you to be professional and to be um, at your best game. So a picture is very important. And believe me, I've spoken to a lot of hiring managers. One of the most interesting things is the picture that they look at. It's not about are you pretty or not. It's about seeing the person behind this CV. There are some countries, for example, I think in the US, they have regulatory requirements where you should not actually put a picture on the CV. But for Europe, I think it's very important to have a picture, because people, connect your face to your CV. So it's important to have it, and they will remember you more. Um, Someone is saying, you mean for Germans? What do you mean for Germans? I mean, in Europe in general, a CV is common. Not a CV, a picture on the CV is common. Do I need a CV to apply for an internship? Yes, you usually do. You usually do. You need a CV to apply for an internship. All right. Include your social proof. And social proof means any social media that is showing your professional activity. So let's say if I have an Instagram profile where I'm just posting about my day and my outfits, I'm not going to put that on my CV, right? But if I have a GitHub account that is full with my projects that I have developed, or I have a Twitter account that I'm posting about my financial analysis of the cryptocurrency market, I will want to put that. Or for example, I have put my YouTube channel that I mentioned in the beginning, Ledger Nation. I have put that on my CV. And believe it or not, it got me one job. It wasn't a like full-time position. It was more like writing for a staking company, because I was reporting about like financial services and investing in the blockchain space, and I did one session about the staking, and they found that interesting. So yeah, I think for me it was a good thing to put my YouTube channel in my CV, and I know for a fact that a lot of people actually got jobs through their social media. So even if you're not sending a CV, if you're active about a certain topic, you can get a job in the blockchain space if you're active online, right, in different social media. I know of people that posted on Twitter about topics. For example, I have someone I used to study with. He's an expert in liquid staking, and he was posting these visuals, like diagrams he was creating for different liquid staking strategies. And he got hired from a very big infrastructure company to be responsible for their DeFi department, right? Through his Twitter. So I know of many stories like this. So be active on social media, talk about your work. This is also very important advice because the blockchain world is happening a lot on social media, and especially on Twitter or X now. Also, include relevant skills and experiences. I have seen CVs, some people write, I don't know, that they played theater in the past, that they, I don't know, like gardening. I'm sorry to say that, but no one cares, right? Sometimes it's nice to see what your hobbies are, but don't put it like in the CV. You should put about stuff about your professional experience, not things about your personal life, let's say. So try to include as many relevant skills and experiences as possible, and not so many that are you're maybe proud of, but are not really relevant for the job that you're applying for. And I've listed some of the common mistakes, which are bad spelling, unfitting graphics and font, passive writing, and how you describe your past experiences. So that means, for example, something like, I have helped the team something, right? So you have to put yourself, of course, don't lie, right? Don't lie that you were responsible, like head of something when you were just an intern, but write about things that you actually created value for, or that you actually achieved in your job, right? This is what your CV should focus on, the things you're good at and the things you really added value to. I mentioned already the too long CVs, using unnecessary buzzwords. Yeah, there are certain buzzwords in the market that some people use or put like adjectives about themselves, like, I don't know, success-driven expert, la la la, something like this. Like, don't put that kind of adjectives in your CV, because the success-driven part will be viewed from your experiences, what you have done in the past, if you're success-driven, or if you are, I don't know, something else like a high achiever or high performer or something like this. It's going to be in your CV, right? Like from the things that you have done. You don't have to put it in as words, like in words. I mentioned already too much personal information, non-professional picture, or picture with bad quality. Once there was it's very interesting. Once I had this candidate, it was a woman, and she put this picture with the rose next to her face. And I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you posing with a rose next to your face? So, all right. Let's move on. Now, your first interview. We spoke until now, let me recap a little bit. We spoke until now what to do in order to be more present and to be seen in the blockchain space, how to write your first CV. And now let's talk about your first interview. So when you actually get to the interview. But maybe before I'm sorry, but before I speak about that, I want to give you a couple of tricks how to actually get the interview, right? I don't have a slide for that, but I want to speak a little bit about that. So the first thing I mentioned is, of course, through your network, right? So I don't know, you're part of a community that is interested in DeFi, and someone is already working for a DeFi protocol, and you can ask them, hey, do you have job openings? Or I don't know, you know someone else who is leaving his company and there's an open position in his role, and you're like, ah, okay, maybe are you hiring again for this position? You know, that kind of network effect. Another very good way to get an interview is through participation in hackathons. Why I love hackathons and why we started doing hackathons with EkoLance is because this gives you an immediate contact to a blockchain protocol. And blockchain protocols, they have jobs not only within the foundation, the blockchain foundation that is doing the blockchain protocol, but also within their ecosystem. And I'll give you an example here. The last hackathon we did last year, right, was for Aleph Zero. Aleph Zero is a blockchain that is, of course, they are hiring themselves. So by doing the hackathon and doing a good job there and also participating in the meetings, you're meeting the people working there. You can network with them. You can ask them directly for jobs and they can see your project and evaluate, okay, are you good enough to start a job there? But also all the companies building on top of this protocol, they need talent as well, right? These are basically startups appearing or building on top of this protocol that need talent. They need developers, they need community managers, they need marketers, they need business developers. So by connecting to the protocol through the hackathon, you can ask, okay, maybe the protocol is not hiring, but maybe some of your ecosystem companies is hiring. And that's also our goal at EkoLance. By facilitating this connection in the hackathons, we open a door to a very large opportunity of reaching different companies to get a job, to get a potential job. Or a third opportunity actually is for you to start your own project and get funded by the protocol during the hackathon. They have bounties for the hackathon. They have grant programs that you can apply for. So I just told you 3 different opportunities how to get a job, you know, through a hackathon. But usually there is always an interview, even if it's not for, let's say, a specific position to get hired, even if it's for a grant, usually there is a one-on-one conversation with someone from the team who will evaluate you and think about, okay, should they give you the money or should they give you the job? And I want to describe here on this slide the first interview that is for hiring, right, for a position. The first one is usually with an HR manager. And it follows, if the HR manager thinks you're a good fit, it will follow by an interview with the hiring manager, which is the person who is actually going to be your boss. So let's say if you're a developer, it will be maybe with the CTO or maybe with the head of development or with the lead developer or something like this. That's going to be the hiring manager. And then the third interview, if there is a third interview, will be with maybe some of the other team members you're going to work with or with the CEO. Because sometimes CEOs also want to establish if you fit to the company culture and if they want to hire you. So in every interview that I am describing here on these slides, you have to prepare a self-presentation. I have had so many interviews with people that I ask them, okay, so can you present yourself? Who are you? They tell me 2 sentences and that's it. And I'm like, okay, how can I understand who you are from 2 sentences? Maybe saying, I don't know, hey, I'm Peter. I am, I don't know, a marketer. I used to work for this company. Yeah, and that's it. I'm like, okay, great. You know, I saw that on your LinkedIn. I saw that in your CV. I want to know more. That's why I'm interviewing you, right? So what is a self-presentation? Self-presentation is something that you prepare in advance and you pitch it to your friends and family so they can give you some feedback. It's a 3 to 5 minute presentation of yourself, who you are, what you have done in the past, which is relevant for the job you're applying for. Why do you want this job and why are you a good fit? This is your self-presentation. And don't worry that you will talk 3 to 5 minutes. This is the interview for, right? You're there because the employer wants to hear about you. They want to evaluate, are you the right person for the job? Do they want to spend time with you in the future? Are you a good cultural fit for this company? Do you really have the skills and experiences? So by just saying your name and your the last job you have done or where you're from, it's not enough. You really have to give them more. And sometimes people are like, I don't want to talk too much about myself, but you have to, right? And this is the interview. That's why we are having an interview, because companies want to know about you. Something that I have also very often experienced is that when the employer starts asking questions, the candidate is not prepared to answer questions about their CV. So I've had sometimes candidates, they send me their CV and I ask them, okay, can you tell me about this job that you had, I don't know, 2 years ago? It says here that you have done a project, I don't know, let's say a token launch. Can you tell me more about what your tasks were, what you did for this project, and how did it go? And then they start. I'm seeing, in their face and their voice changes, and then they cannot really tell me that much. So the reasons could be two, right? One of the reasons could be they are lying on their CV. So they have never done this job, but they put it there because it looks good and that it's relevant for the current job that they're applying for. So they wanted to have some relevant experience, but they have never actually done it. This could be one reason. Or the second reason is they put it in there, but it was maybe not exactly what they were doing, or they forgot what exactly they were doing in this role. Sometimes, you put some experiences you have done 5 years ago, right? And you don't remember anymore what you did 5 years ago. So try to, when you put something on your CV, try to be prepared to really talk about it. What exactly you have done there, who you worked with, what were the challenges, how did you solve them? These are the standard questions, and really know your CV. I have experienced this really often, and usually it's a very bad sign if you cannot answer questions like this. And especially you wrote that in the CV, right? So if you cannot talk about it, it's a tricky thing. And don't lie on your CV, believe me, don't lie on it, because if it's a good company, they're gonna call the employer, and then they're gonna ask. And the blockchain world is a small, very small world. People know each other, and they will ask, okay, did you really do that you're claiming? And yeah, if you haven't, they will know very quickly. So it's still a very, very small industry. So I don't lie on your CV. Also, research the company you're applying for and know what they do. I had interviews, people applying for EkoLance, and I asked them, all right, why did you want to work for us? And they cannot say anything because they don't know what we do. And I'm so surprised when I see that, because I'm like, why did you apply for a job with us if you don't know what we do? If you don't have any questions for me? Like, why would you want to work? So you're not really motivated. Like, why would you want to apply for someone you didn't research? You don't prepare any questions. And this is a super bad sign. So always research the company, be prepared. Researching the company is very easy. Go to their website, go to their LinkedIn, maybe Google some latest news about them and ask them about this. Ask them some simple questions you can ask is even, okay, what is this position about that I'm applying? I know I read the job description, but can you tell me more about it? Who am I going to work with? Who am I reporting to? What will be my KPIs in the first 60 days or in the first 3 months or in the first year? What do I have to achieve in this job? Do I have to travel? That kind of stuff. It's simple. Like if you're really interested in doing this job, you will have a lot of questions. So ask these questions and show interest. This is very important. Another trick that I have personally done in the past when I was applying for jobs is I talk to employees at the company. Nowadays, it's very easy because we have LinkedIn, right? So let's say you're applying at EkoLance for a job, and then you just look on LinkedIn, who is working for EkoLance? And then you write these people and say, hey, I'm applying for a job at EkoLance and I have my interview next Wednesday. Uh, do you have 15 minutes for a conversation before that? Because I would really like to speak to you and know more about the company, the culture, maybe the job that I'm applying for. You can really help me out if you have a conversation with me and tell me more about it. By having these conversations, and you will learn more about the company, about what is required from the job, and you can prepare yourself better for the interview. And this will really be very differentiating. So when the person you're having the interview with understands you have done your research and so much research, they will really give you extra points for that. And as I said, prepare questions, right? Very important to show interest. All right, guys, I spoke so much. And now I would love to see if you have any questions. If you exactly get your on-chain certificate here for this session by scanning the QR code. Let me see if it works. I'm interested if it works. I can maybe also scan it and see. But yeah, I'm now open for questions. I would love to hear from you. Yeah, it works. All right. Yes, Mary.
Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for this amazing session. That's really enlightening. I wanted to ask, um, what would you say for someone that like me that has about 3 years of experience in the blockchain space, doing marketing for various projects, but for some reasons I've not been able to land a permanent good role for like a few months now. What would you say is like the quick steps for me to take that I can get my next role in the next probably 1 month? What would you say? What would you advise? Thank you.
Yes, I know two people like you, marketers in the blockchain space that have worked for now several years in the blockchain space, and for different reasons, currently they don't have a job. And I will give you two strategies what they did. The first one built a really, really amazing brand for herself. So she was looking to get hired by blockchain protocols, and it wasn't working out. So she started a YouTube channel, and she doesn't speak English very well, but she does it in English. And I think this was very brave of her. And what she did is she started reaching out to protocols to interview them, to talk about themselves. And marketing is a very cool space in the blockchain space because everyone is looking for publicity. Everyone wants their name out there. So if you can start something like this starts a relationship with the protocols, right? This is how you can get them to participate, let's say in your YouTube channel or your podcast, or I don't know, you do, you write articles and you want interviews, something like this. And you build your own media company, let's call it that way, which is your own brand. Through that brand, this woman, told me that actually now she's not looking for a job anymore because she's getting so much interest for her to give them advice, branding advice, and to feature them on her own channel and her like social media channels now that she has built over, I don't know, the next 6 months, right? It's not like she was doing that for years, just the last 6 months. And she said she doesn't need a job anymore. This gives her the flexibility to work with really different cool projects, not with just one blockchain company. And she loves that. So this one advice, really work on your brand, because especially if you're in marketing, people want to see that you are influential and that you can that you understand from branding and marketing strategies. And if you can show that in your own profile and on yourself, that's a very good testament for your work, right? For your skills. And you can find a niche, right? So this woman specifically focuses on a very specific blockchain technology and talks about that, right? That's her topic. And I think this is working very well for her. So this is something that I've noticed. The other one, what she did is she now is actually trying to work for VCs in the blockchain space. And this is her niche. She decided, okay, she has a lot of experience working for blockchain startups. So she wants now to join the other side, working for VCs. And she has this experience with working for the startups, helping them in the marketing space, really understanding also the struggles of the startups. So now she's trying to create something like free course how can blockchain startups get funding or promote themselves to get more funding. And with this, she wants to also go to the VCs and say, hey, I'm working with a lot of startups. I can give you deal flow. I have good connections. I can also help your portfolio companies in the marketing department. So she's selling herself like this. But again, proof of work, right? So first you have to build this portfolio of successful things that you have done before you can go and present it to others to hire you. Is this helping, Mary?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Someone's asking, Ismaila is asking, so a lot of jobs are always intermediate role and senior roles. What are your thoughts? You mean if you are more of a beginner, what are my thoughts? How to get a job as a beginner? Yeah, as a beginner, it's the same thing like what I just said, even if you're a beginner, maybe what I did, right? When I was a beginner in the blockchain space, I started writing articles on Medium about the topic that interested me, which was investing. I started writing mostly about passive income with cryptocurrencies. And this is how somehow, I don't know how, somehow maybe my articles were good, I don't know. First of all, I learned a lot by writing these articles because I was researching a lot. And second of all, somehow companies found out about myself. I started getting invited to conferences, to speak at conferences. Um, Companies started asking me to do trainings for them. I've done a training at Nestle. I've done a training at Volkswagen. These are like very, very large companies, traditional companies, but they're interested in blockchain, right? So this is how somehow, I got the interest of companies because I had my articles that I wrote. I didn't even write many. I think I wrote 5 articles. And it's a lot about how you position yourself. So even as a beginner, you can work on your brand. Maybe it's a good idea now to do like a branding workshop, how to create a good brand. What do you think, guys? Can you give a thumbs up if you think it's something that you would like to see? Building a brand, a personal brand in the blockchain space for professionals. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. All right, we'll take it with us as a good idea.
Hi, Maya. Ujjwal this side from India.
Hello.
Yeah. So I have I just entered into the blockchain technology. I'm a total newbie here. So I already have a job in IoT sector. However, I want to explore blockchain. So is this a right space to ask for resources, for the right resources? So from where I can learn and maybe in a year or 7 to 8 months crack a starting job in blockchain.
You said you are in the IoT space, so
Yes.
Internet of Things.
Yes.
It's a very interesting sector, actually, the intersection between IoT and blockchain. So I think definitely you have a lot of opportunities here. I don't know exactly what you do. Do you have like an engineering background?
Yes, yes. I've done my bachelor's in computer science.
Yeah, there you should research that, right? So there's a lot of companies exploring the space right now. Different things. So connecting IoT devices with blockchain technology to track certain things, for example, to track the road of materials or to track I know a use case of like water facilities using IoT devices to track the quality of water and the amount of water being delivered to the clearing facilities. This is also done on blockchain. In the US, I know of that kind of company that is doing that. So it's a very interesting intersection, and I think you can have a lot of good opportunities. So what I can advise you is, of course, learn what is blockchain, what use cases there are in your sector, in the IoT sector. And actually, what I can advise you is just directly contact the companies. When you see like a company specialized in blockchain and IoT, just write them and say, hey, I'm in this sector right now. Can I just have a call with you and they will tell you. They will tell you what they do. They will tell you what they need, what their plans for the future are. And this is how you get in contact with them. And then maybe in 6 months, after you know more about blockchain, you can contact them again and say, hey, now I know more about blockchain. Do you have a role for me? Can I don't know, work part-time for you? Maybe, I don't know, do a project with them on the side to learn. And this is how you start your portfolio, and then you can find a job.
Okay, surely I'll research for some companies which are into IoT and blockchain integration.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. And the good thing is that they're so open. The blockchain space is really open. Like people will actually agree to talk to you, right? Which is really cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, another hand that is up. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm a content writer, Web3 content writer, and I also write Solidity. Yeah, I'm a developer. I'm looking to explore dev space, so I would like to get advice on you on how to get started.
Yes. All right. So, have you heard of the DevRel University?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Have you done it?
Not yet, but they've not like started another cohort. So I'm waiting for the next cohort.
Yeah. All right. So I personally know Bianca, which is the founder, and I think she's doing an amazing job, and I definitely would advise you to visit her DevRel University to, kick it off. I think she will have much more advice about this job than I will. Developer relationship managers are currently very on demand. The reason is there are a lot of new protocols popping up, right? Like layer 2s, maybe the layer 3s will come soon. Also infrastructure companies, a lot of blockchain infrastructure companies that are looking for developer relationship managers. And for this role, actually the role is in between marketing and tech and event management. Let's say this is the intersection of these three roles. And usually they're not hiring only one person, they're hiring a team of people who is doing the developer relationship job. So when you want to enter this space, I think you should figure out for yourself what exactly is your strength. Is it the technology part? So do you want to be the one working with the developers on answering technical questions? Are you more on the front end side? Front end, I mean like customer facing side, meaning like, let's say you want to do presentations, be on stage, travel, and explain the technology to new people, new developers? Or do you want to be actually the one organizing events for developers? Because again, you have to understand the technology, but you also have to be able to be more this event manager type of person. So I think when you figure out what are your strengths, you can approach this job in a way that you target the companies you want to work with. So companies that you understand their technology, you understand their roadmap, you show them that you understand that, and you show them that you're somehow were involved in their ecosystems, maybe follow them on Discord and write a bit about them in Discord, maybe write a couple of articles about them, maybe do a couple of presentations to show them that you know what you're talking about. And then tell them, hey, these are my strengths. This is what I can do for you guys. I would like to get a job as a developer relationship manager with you. And again, there are a lot of like new protocols. You can actually research who is doing a public token launch in the next 3 months. And then these companies are usually looking for developer relationship managers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so Tech Stack Camel is asking, I joined this Zoom and filled the form. What is the next step? The next step is for you to tell us which job you got in the blockchain space. And you'll get a certificate next week for this session. Okay, Ismaila is asking, how do we leverage the bull run in the job searching aspect? I know that a lot of times you're asked to look for startups. This might be funny, but can you recommend any startups or where to get most of these startups? Yes, go on Crunchbase. Let me give you the website. Go on Crunchbase. Just a second. I'll paste the link here. Go on Crunchbase and there look for companies that raised funds in the last 6 months, let's say. Usually they're hiring. So go to their websites. I think Crunchbase has a 7-day free trial. So subscribe for the free trial. Look who has raised funds. And usually they're hiring. So that's a good way to. I don't know if I answered your question. Maybe you can tell me, or if you have more questions about that. All right, Mary, you're raising your hand again.
You mentioned earlier about relationship building, like getting succeeding in this space in a career. In your career, it has to do with how many people knows what you do, like relationship building and all of that. Can you give tips on how to build relationships in the space without trying to push yourself in the faces of people? How do you genuinely build relationships that would end up in advancing your career in this space? Thank you.
I think it's like you build relationships in your personal life. First of all, you have to understand that it's give and take, right? So that's why I don't like when someone writes me on LinkedIn, hey, I want an internship. And I'm like, who are you, right? I don't know you. Why should I give you an internship? So, and the same like with fundraising, right? You just write someone you don't know, hey, I'm fundraising, give me money, right? Like no one's gonna give you money then. You first have to build the relationship. That means for a career, you have to make people trust you. So to make people trust you, you have to show them what you have done and to show them that you do quality work. And that's why I feel like the social media presence is so important. So I don't know, start a YouTube channel where you post about quality stuff, right? Like analyze something or report on some news about something, give advice on something, right? So this will build your credibility. And with your credibility, people will build trust. And with this trust, people will be more likely to help you out. And in the end of the day, building a relationship, as I said, is give and take. That means that if they help you out with something, they would expect you to help them out with something. And I got a very good advice of one of my personal mentors, where she told me, when you write to someone, tell them what you give them in return, right? So let's say if I had in my YouTube channel, I say, hey, I want to interview you for my YouTube channel. In return, I can promise you that your video will be viewed by da 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 da. And then you say by whom? That is interesting for them, right? So why should people give you 30 minutes of their time? People are very, very, very busy, especially successful people are super busy. They don't have time to give you 30 minutes of their time. So what will you give them in return? And I think this is a good foundation for a relationship or a good working relationship, because you understand the economics of a good working relationship, that you give them something and they give you something. And when they see that you're someone that they can trust because you have built a certain reputation in the market with something that you have done or you do, or with your outreach, then they can recommend you to someone and for a job, right? So it takes time. It's nothing that will happen overnight. Does EkoLance offer community management services, courses? Yes, we did a community management course, two actually, I think, in 2022 and in 2023, I think. The reason why we're not doing any now, and we will not do another one, is because there are already a lot of community managers in the market. So usually the courses that we do are for very demanded positions where there is not enough supply in the market. So let's say auditors, right? Smart contract auditors. There are not many smart contract auditors. That's why it makes sense to do a smart contract audit course, so to educate more. But meanwhile, there are a lot of community managers in the market, and that's why we are not doing another course about community management. What are the requirements for me to get a recommendation from you? To have worked with you and to be happy with the job you have done. So if you participate in our hackathons and you do good, you win a prize, or you do any other kind of work facilitated through us where our client is happy, then we can recommend you. Yes, another question?
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Eunice. I recently finished a course on product management, and obviously I'm supposed to be looking for a job right now, but instead I want to look for an internship where I can be able to gain more experience so that I'll be better off when I want to get a job. But I am finding it hard getting a company where I can intern. So I don't know if you can help me with ideas on that.
You said product management?
Yes, product management.
And where did you do the course?
The Morpheus Academy.
Okay, I don't know them. Don't they help with that?
They haven't actually given an opportunity for that yet.
Well, product management is something that you can always find a job in product management in companies building, right? Building something. So it's the same like every other position. The tips that I gave, right? The best thing is to show them what you can help them with and convince them that it's a good idea to work with you. But of course, like in any job, there is a very big competition. So you have to be aware of that and really find a company that will see your value. So maybe, as I said, in the marketing position, think about a niche, right? So let's say you want to specialize in product development for wallets, right? So I don't know, do some analysis of wallets as products, write like a paper about that, and then send it to all the wallets on the market and say, hey, I'm Eunice. I'm specialized in product design. No, product management, you said. I'm sorry, product management, right? For crypto wallets. And I have written a paper about that, and then you get opportunities. So I think it's a good way to go. Once I did a research about crypto gaming. It's because I love games, right? I'm a gamer at heart, and I did a research on that with a couple of other guys. It was just like I didn't want a job there or anything. But when we didn't even publish it, we didn't finish it, but we were teasing it like on social media, and then you cannot imagine how many like gaming companies contacted me. Like, so doing something like this is a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Right. So thanks everyone. And everyone who filled out the form will get their on-chain certificates next week. We're very, very excited about that. And you can start building your portfolio that way. Yeah, thanks, Bob, for this comment in the chat. And I also wish everyone a great evening. Bye.